For more than 4 decades, Vanna White stood beside Pat Sajak, and the two made their on-screen chemistry look effortless. But the glamorous gowns and easy banter only told part of her story. Away from the puzzle board, Vanna endured loss, broken relationships, family strain, and career battles she rarely discussed publicly. Through all of it, Pat stayed by her side, a closeness that only fueled decades of speculation. Were they simply great television partners? Or was something more going on? The real story is quieter than the rumors and far more human. Vanna Marie White was born on February 18, 1957, near North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Her mother, Jo Marie Nicholas, and biological father, Miguel Angel Rosick, divorced while Vanna was still an infant. Her mother remarried Herbert White Jr., a former real estate broker, and Vanna took his surname. She grew close to Herbert, later saying she made a habit of calling him each morning just to tell him she loved him. Her childhood was ordinary and warm, filled with card games, board games, and family time. In her memoir, Vanna speaks. She recalled some more unusual memories, too, tying a string to a pet chameleon so it could ride on her clothes, and feeding a neighborhood alligator with a friend, an episode that turned frightening when her younger brother briefly went missing near the water. He was found safe, but the scare stuck with her. Vanna was especially close with her mother, who had grown up in South Carolina after being raised by relatives. That bond gave Vanna a strong foundation, one she would lean on heavily in the years ahead. After high school, Vanna moved to Atlanta to study at a fashion design school and tried her hand at modeling, even competing in the Miss Georgia USA pageant in 1978. 2 years later, she headed to Los Angeles to chase acting and television work. The early years were rough. She has said money was so tight that she once had no bed and slept on the floor, working as a waitress between auditions. A personal manager she hired began exaggerating her career for publicity, including lie about her age and promoting an event as though she'd already landed major roles. Uncomfortable with the dishonesty, she ended that professional relationship. Rejection kept coming. She has said she went through more than 100 unsuccessful commercial auditions. Her fortunes changed when a joke about a doctor's appointment made casting directors laugh during an audition, finally landing her a commercial. Around the same time, she appeared as a contestant hopeful on The Price is Right in 1980, though she never made it to the stage. That same year, tragedy interrupted her career push. Her mother was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and Vanna returned home to South Carolina for what would be a painful farewell. Back in Los Angeles after her mother's death, Vanna took small roles in the films Looker and the 1981 horror movie Graduation Day, gaining camera experience but not financial security. She had unsuccessfully tried out for Wheel of Fortune once before, simply because she loved the format. Her real opportunity came in late 1982, when original co-host Susan Stafford departed. Vanna entered the search as a late addition and became one of 3 finalists. She has described the audition as nerve-wracking, shaky hands, a trembling voice, because she wanted the job so badly. Years later, Pat Sajak revealed a surprising detail. When producer Merv Griffin leaned toward hiring Vanna, Pat actually advocated for a different, more experienced candidate. Griffin, however, wasn't only looking for polish. He wanted warmth and natural chemistry, qualities he saw between Pat and Vanna. She was hired the night before Thanksgiving and officially debuted as co-host on December 13, 1982. The man who once doubted her would go on to become her longest-running television partner. Vanna quickly became a cultural fixture in her own right, recognized for her calm presence, her smile, and her nightly gowns. Until the board was computerized in 1997, she manually turned each letter tile by hand. Afterward, she simply touched a screen, which sped up production enough that a full week of episodes could be taped in a single day. Small mishaps happened along the way. A stray Christmas ornament once caught on her dress. She lost a belt on air, and during her first season, she took an excited tumble after a contestant won a car, recovering with a laugh from the crowd. Her wardrobe became legendary in itself. The show's official record credits her with wearing more than 7,000 outfits, going nearly 40 years without repeating a single one until 2020. Off camera, she preferred simple jeans and t-shirts, and she often crocheted during downtime, including blankets for both of her children. In 2013, Guinness World Records recognized her as television's most frequent clapper, an honor later updated to reflect more than 4.5 million claps over her career. But behind the record-setting cheer, personal heartbreak was never far away. In the 1980s, Vanna fell in love with actor John Gibson, known for his role on The Young and the Restless and previously a Chippendales dancer. The couple got engaged. Then, on May 17, 1986, Gibson died in a small plane crash near Van Nuys Airport. Vanna first learned of the accident from a news broadcast and later received a call asking for the name of his dentist so his body could be identified through dental records. She has described falling to her knees the moment she heard the news. She took bereavement leave from the show, with Susan Stafford briefly returning to fill in. Grieving publicly proved painful in its own way. Vanna has said tabloids ran false and hurtful stories rather than allow her space to mourn, including one outlandish claim that she'd somehow brought her late fiancé back from the grave. She called the coverage disgusting, but she also found comfort in letters from fans who had experienced similar losses, saying those messages made her feel less alone. Notably, her own mother had once lost a fiancé in a car accident just weeks before their planned wedding, a shared history that gave Vanna's grief added depth. Vanna's 1987 memoir, Vanna Speaks, became a bestseller and opened up about her upbringing and private struggles. That same year, Playboy published older photographs of her taken in 1982, before her fame, when she needed money and didn't want to ask her parents for help. She maintained she never authorized their publication and sued both the magazine and Hugh Hefner for $5.2 million, though the suits were eventually dropped. On The Tonight Show, she urged others to trust their instincts and avoid choices they might later regret. Her acting resume grew to include guest spots on shows like Full House, Married, With Children, The King of Queens, and Fresh Off the Boat, along with an appearance at WrestleMania 4. In 1993, she won a legal battle against Samsung after the company used a letter-turning robot in an ad she argued mimicked her public persona, earning a $43,000 jury award. Licensing deals, including branded slot machines, added significantly to her wealth, which has been estimated around $85 million. In 2006, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame alongside Pat Sajak and Merv Griffin. For years after Gibson's death, Vanna married restaurant owner George Sanopietro in 1990. In September 1992, she became pregnant, and the show famously turned the announcement into an on-air puzzle solved by contestants. Shortly after that segment was taped, she suffered a miscarriage, a devastating blow made harder by having already shared the news publicly. She has said there was nothing redeeming about losing a child, and she again leaned on faith, family, and friends to get through it. She went on to give birth to son Nico in June 1994 and daughter Gigi in July 1997. She and George divorced amicably in November 2002. Both children grew up visiting the studio. Nico later became a Los Angeles real estate agent, and Gigi became a tattoo artist. In 2024, Vanna and Nico went viral with a casual cooking video, and Gigi got to meet Snoop Dogg backstage during a celebrity episode of the show. After her divorce, Vanna was briefly engaged to businessman Michael Kay between 2004 and 2006, though they never married. In 2012, a mutual friend introduced her to construction developer John Donaldson at a barbecue she was hosting. The two hit it off immediately and began a relationship built on low-key compatibility rather than drama. Over the following decade, Vanna repeatedly described their bond as effectively a marriage in every way but paperwork. On January 21st, 2026, she surprised fans by announcing that she and Donaldson had quietly married in a private ceremony after more than a decade together, sharing a photo of him carrying her over the threshold. She was 68. The marriage didn't put an end to public curiosity about her relationship with Pat Sajak. From early on, their easy rapport fueled tabloid romance rumors, which Sajak once joked placed them somewhere between lovers and feuders. They occasionally played along, including an April Fool's joke about being a couple. While Sajak maintained that their staggered work schedule, a few intense taping days followed by real time apart, kept their partnership fresh rather than strained. Vanna has consistently called Pat a brother and her best friend, noting in 2019 that in 36 years they had only one real disagreement. over whether hot dogs should have ketchup or mustard. She said she could read his mood just from the sound of his footsteps, and he could do the same with her. Not every moment aged well. By 2023, some fans thought a few of Pat's on-air jokes, including references to visiting Vanna in prison, landed awkwardly rather than playfully. Vanna generally brushed such moments off as jokes rather than signs of any real tension. Their bond was tested more seriously in November 2019, when Pat required emergency surgery for a blocked intestine. Vanna stepped in a host in his place for several weeks, calling the experience strange without him there, but manageable thanks to decades of watching how the show worked. In May 2023, she also appeared as a celebrity contestant on Jeopardy! Hosted by Ken Jennings, proving she could hold her own away from the puzzle board entirely. Behind the on-screen partnership, questions grew about whether Vanna had been compensated fairly. A 2023 report indicated she'd earned around $3 million a year for 18 years without a raise, and that she was pushing for pay closer parity with Pat rather than the reduced rate she'd long accepted. Sources close to her said she'd spent years being told she was lucky to have a job at all,